So a few months back, I woke up and I decided I'm going to do this today. I'm going to start focusing. I'm going to think the thoughts and put the images in my mind, appear in the world around me. And so I began looking at, you know, semi what I want, pictures of like females who lead metal bands, pretty much, like Wendy O. Williams and Alyssa Glasgow, I guess the new one, the new Arch Enemy singer. And, I like focused on that and for like a good 30 minutes at least of my day. And I was on my way to the gym, stopped at the Dollar Tree, and lo and behold, inside the Dollar Tree was like one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And it was definitely goth metal fuck. Ow. Like, I mean, and we are talking about the upper echelons here, like pretty much what I'd be looking for. So I spoke with her and seemed pretty happy to speak with me. And like, I kind of like got stabbed once or twice during the conversation, metaphorically. Because she's like, I got kids, and I'm like, oh, not enough time for me. And so I kind of stalled in the conversation and just like talked to her about bands or something, concerts. Obviously not from Columbus, Ohio, because where have I seen people like that in this city? Pretty much a given if I find someone like that. Like when I go to concerts and no one at the concert is from around here and they've all traveled from different states, it's like, yeah. That sucks too. That's like the second stabbing, it's like, oh. So you got like very little time and you've got a long way to go. I should have pressed harder. So I went to get in line to check out, and I was just figuring like I'll go outside and wait for her and give her my number. And then so I go outside after I'm done checking out, and I wait for like a couple minutes. And, she doesn't show up. So I'm assuming like she had left already. So I go to the gym, and while that's happening, while I'm leaving the area, there are people who look like they're talking with each other, but they're not. They're talking to me. They're specifically telling me what happened. I mean, this happened a lot to me. They're over here talking to each other, but they're saying they started out saying, like, what just happened? Why'd you let that go, pretty much? And like I respond sometimes, not sure if I did that time, but they carried on with their conversation with each other, and clearly they were saying she left while you were in the checkout lane and you didn't see it. And yeah, this is not the first time these things happen, but there's definitely something going on here, because this happens, like not only did I focus on that happening and it happened, but then somehow the other people were just vessels, thinking they're talking to each other. And how would that conversation even have any relevance on what they could be talking about? That's not the first time I noticed that either, too. It's like one time I was reading something and making a comment online. Got off the bus, and two people like walked by. Like, I think I got off the bus and didn't do that, and then two people walked by, and they weren't talking to each other. They were talking to me, but they didn't act like they were. You know, these people like, you know, are looking at me like, hey, what's up, or anything, and it's like sometimes the conversations we're having are not like conversations that would be in place, you know, would have any place in other people's doings and tellings. Hell, one time, a dude came out and started playing a song after that stuff happened and stuff. We're at a large event and these things happen. And how at the large event did I notice that, I first noticed this, like the other people talking to me, but talking to each other, were like way far away. Like, you know, there's probably like 50 people in between us. But I like knew, and I could look over there and like read their lips, and I knew like that was like actually happening and stuff that day. Especially like when the guitarist comes out and starts singing a little song after that, walking around. And man, that's crazy. But you know, I wish like you know, it wasn't so confusing and hard. Like when I really like want something, like it's not even that great of a thing when I'm being pushed something and I'm not ready for it, or it catches me off guard and stuff. Like if I'm, it makes me think like I'm, you know, purposely like being pushed playmates who are just supposed to be there for a short while, but I've been brainwashed and supposed to like bed down with anyone forever. And so, yeah, I mean, probably could be more interesting if I was like less allergic to my experience here on Earth. And I mean, look at these things that are happening. Like, who wouldn't like wake up and like think like, what the hell's going on every second of the day if those things are actually happening? But hopefully it happens again. I mean, I was definitely pushed some beautiful things before, but then again, I don't know if those were part of the storyline and I played the roles correctly there or not. But you kind of, you know, you might get nervous if someone works for the government and comes to hang out with you and works for like all the people who like you think you're in a war against. You know, obviously, like if you think you're in a war and that war involves people sending people into people's lives to disrupt their life, then you might expect if someone you know works for those people that they're of the same. Even though my father worked for such people before I understood any of it, he used to brag about it. And, hey, you know, you work for Donald Trump or something, like that's like bragging rights. Like people are gonna hire you and your business to come work for them if you're good enough to work for people like that. So yeah, it's really weird how like the like possession just happens and stuff, and I mean they're like oblivious that it's happening, and they're like oblivious. Their conversations don't even have a place in something normal people would be sitting around talking about, you know, their interjections and stuff. That actually happens with a lot of people, and I'm assuming it happens a lot more than I think it does because I didn't know it's there, and sometimes it actually fits the story. Like if I go to a concert looking for someone and someone shows up, like, what did I expect? If I go to Dollar Tree when I'm looking for someone on the way to the gym. And then other people are like, you know, telling me what happened in the storyline that I missed and stuff. And they think they're talking to each other. It's like a whole different ball game right there.